Hey everyone, I'm your average guy Sahil Gogna. Welcome back to another video. So from past couple of weeks, I was getting a lot of questions about the interview process for software developer and other software related profiles. So I thought why not make a separate video and give you guys just an overview about what you can expect in different rounds of the interviews. So in this video, we are going to discuss the interview process at a very high level and all the types of rounds that you can expect in different interviews. So without any delay, let's get started. So guys, let's assume that your resume got shortlisted for the profile that you applied for online, and the first thing that you can expect is an email from the HR in which they will be reaching out to you just to get your availability for the first telephonic interview with the HR. So even though this round is the non-technical one, please take this round very seriously. The first thing is that what is the purpose of this round? So HRs generally call you guys just to make sure whether you are eligible to work here in Canada, or what is the notice period that you need to give to your current company, or any other things that they need to validate your profile before sending the request to the technical team or the other hiring team. So in this, they will be discussing about all the technical skills that you have and all the experiences that you have. So the one thing that you need to make sure is that HR, they are the non-technical people, and they are just matching the keywords whatever you are saying to. So you will notice that whenever you are telling them anything, they are typing or they are writing down whatever you are speaking it, so that after the call they can analyze whether this person is a good fit for the job description or not. In this scenario, you can do one thing, that you should always speak whatever the relevant experiences you have. For example, let's say you are applying for a data engineering profile and you also have some experience or some projects in the front end dev, right? So it will be more relevant to talk about your data engineering experiences, about your educational background or anything related to data engineering, rather than blabbering about all the top projects that you did in the front end. Because for HR people, if you are stating just the front end skills, your profile is not a complete match, and then you might not get a chance to appear for an interview with the technical team. So please be careful whatever you are speaking for, because this is the pre-screening round that matters a lot. And after this round, I want to answer one of the most commonly asked questions by the students from India. They generally ask me that whether the companies, they prefer any aptitude test here for the screening or not. So in my experience, and I have also heard a lot of experiences from my friends, and we never ever faced any aptitude round, which is very common back in India. But there are some other types of round that companies generally conduct as the pre-screening or the screening rounds. So they are generally the psychometric test, and you can easily Google and find a lot of websites which provide a psychometric test, so that you can take a sample test and evaluate yourself. And the other type of rounds are like rounds based on the leadership skills. So in that round, you get a set of questions that are MCQs, and you are given a scenario. Let's say the scenario is that you had a conflict on the project that you were working, and these are the 4 points, and what will be your approach to solve that conflict. So in these types of rounds, companies are generally making sure whether you are a team player, are you a leader, or some other type of trait. So they just make sure that whether you have those personality skills or not. So I don't think so there's anything particular we can do to prepare for these rounds. I think you should just go to different websites, try to look for the sample interviews, and maybe for some of the companies you can also look for their leadership principles or some particular principles that they follow in their company, and maybe answer those questions according to that. But I don't think so there's any particular way that we can tackle this round. So you have to be natural, you have to be yourself. If that position is meant for you, you will definitely get to the next round. Also, please note that generally out of 10 companies, only 2 or 3 companies will ask you for this one. But most of the companies after HR round, they will directly jump onto the technical interviews, which we are going to discuss next. So talking about the technical interviews, we will be discussing on a very high level what type of technical interviews you can expect. So guys, it's very hard for me to generalize like these are the particular number of rounds that you can expect, because it completely depends upon the size of the company and the type of profile that you're applying for. Some of the companies might grade you a lot on your data structure and algorithm skills and some other core computing skills, but some of the companies, they might completely focus on all the work experiences and the projects that you have developed. So it completely depends upon the type of company that you're applying for. And sometimes it's also the profile specific, as I've earlier mentioned. In some of the scenarios, you might get a take-home assignment in which you will get an email from the HR or from the technical team, in which you will receive an assignment and you have to do that assignment over the weekend or whatever the timeline the company has provided, and which will be followed by a technical discussion with the technical team with which you will be working in the future. So these types of rounds, they're completely focused upon your development skills, like how much technical knowledge you have. And in some of the scenarios, like for example, if you say you are a web developer or data analyst, the companies might conduct a live test in which you might be given an assignment to make a website online, and the company and the technical people, they will be tracking like what exactly the things you are doing. So if you are stuck, you can always ask them. Maybe even if sometimes you need to use Google, you can tell them like, okay, so these are the things I need to search research, or I'm not able to recall the syntax. And if you are a data analyst, like appearing for such type of interviews, you can be given a data set in which you have to solve a particular problem, maybe clean the data, maybe you have to represent that data on some charts, maybe some other BI tools. Those are the things that you can generally expect. The main point that I want to make here is that, so back in India, I know like even the companies which are paying very less, let's say 6 lakh or 7 lakh per annum, they are very much focusing on just the data structure and algorithm, and it's getting very hard for the candidates to, you know, focus on the other skills. They are just focusing on the data structure and algorithm. But here in Canada, if you are decent with those skills, like I'm not expecting you to be very good with the data structure and algorithm, but again, you should have some of the basic knowledge or some of the high knowledge how the different data structures are working. So here you will face some of the interviews in which the companies, they are completely focusing on the work experiences you have. So in case you are not that good with the data structure and algorithm, so I would suggest you guys to develop some of very good projects in which you explore different types of technologies which are latest in the market, and also at the same time you have the basics strong for the language that you are using. For example, you can make some of the good applications in React, but at the same time you should have very strong basics in JavaScript, because then the companies might be grilling you on the basis of the on the concepts in the JavaScript rather than just going into data structure and algorithm. And if you are not being asked the algorithms in the interview, it doesn't mean that interview will be easy, right? So there are different technical aspects that the companies explore, and here you will find the companies that are judging you based on the various technical parameters. And another type of rounds that you can expect are the behavior rounds. So these are the very important rounds. So even if you are not that sound with the technical skills, these rounds can really make up a difference. There's not any particular order in which you can be asked about the behavior round. So it can be the first round, it can be the last round, or it can be clubbed along with your technical skills. So in this scenario, I would say, like, I can give you an example. Once you are appearing for a technical interview, they can give you some scenarios that, okay, so when you were working on this project, they will pick up some project from your resume or some work experience, and they will give you a scenario that, okay, so when you were working on this project, were there any conflicts? How did you approach this problem? And how did you show your leadership skills when you were working on that particular project? Or maybe what was your particular role in that project? So from these types of questions, the companies, they are just trying to assess whether the experience that you have mentioned in your resume is real, or you have just copied it from someone else's resume. So if you don't have any particular, the professional experience, and you have just the university projects, be prepared for these types of interviews, because the companies, they want to make sure that you are the right candidate for the position they are hiring for. And the best way to practice for these types of rounds is that come up with different scenarios, or analyze your project and think of the scenarios, or think of the follow-up question that you can get. You can also get some questions online from Google and just try to make up the stories. Okay, so if you have some university projects, were there any challenges that you faced? Maybe it can be the technical challenges, or it can be the challenges with your teammates, or maybe you were stuck in a problem. How did you approach the problem? Did you just try to dig into the online documentation, or maybe you reached out to your other classmates? So these types of scenarios. So basically the companies, they want to hear the stories in which you are the hero and you somehow try to solve the problem, or you somehow came up with a creative way. So these types of interviews are very important. So even if you did average in your the technical interviews, so these rounds, if you perform well, and they can judge you from your profile that, okay, so this person is capable of learning and applying the skills practically, then you can get that profile for which you are appearing. And at the last, I would say, like, don't underestimate the power of these rounds. These are very important rounds. From high level, it might seem that they are just discussing the behavior round. They are not judging you based on your technical skills, but these are very important. So please make sure to practice well for these rounds too. So guys, this was all about the interview process here in Canada. I hope this video was helpful, and let me know, like, whether these tips were helpful to you or not, or if you are preparing for the interviews, what are the different resources that you are utilizing right now, so that we all can take advantage from those resources. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe.